Okay, this video is for Chapter 16 of Groundwork for Better Vocabulary. Again, unfortunately, I don't have my book with me, but you can go ahead and open it up to Chapter 16 if you want to follow along in there. Okay, so let's take a look at these words and take a look at the take a guess as to their parts of speech, if we can. So our first word is apparent, automatic, burden, economical, so that AL should tell us something, extravagant, fulfill, influence, security, sympathize, IZE should tell us something, and then transfer. So moving to our first one. This one is apparent, and this one is an adjective. Marcy's smile made it apparent that she had done well on the test. It's apparent that Will and Bess have settled their quarrel since they're dating steadily. So apparent means clear or obvious. It means that it's something that that is not hidden, that is clearly visible or understood, right? That through either what someone's doing, but not necessarily, or what they're saying, the truth of a situation is very clear. So in the first example, right, it says that it's apparent that she did really well because she was smiling when she got back her test. You're like, oh, she must have done well. In the second one, it's clear that those two people have figured out their quarrel or their argument because now they're dating again. For that, okay. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I had a little power issue. Okay, so our next one here is automatic. And our new coffee maker is automatic. We set it at night and it turns on by itself in the morning. Before the automatic washing machine, laundering clothes was not so easy. So automatic means self-operating. So if we look at the word, we have the suffix, sorry, the prefix on it is auto, and what auto means always is by itself. And matic is related to machinery, right? So it means that this is a machine that works by itself. So in the first one, we're saying that the coffee maker is automatic, meaning that we don't have to turn it on in the morning. It does it automatically. In the second one, an automatic washing machine. This is one where you don't have to wash the clothes by hands, but you just put the clothes in there and press a button, and it washes them for you. So the important thing here when we're talking about something being automatic is that it doesn't require a lot of direct intervention by humans. Meaning that it can be done, it does it by itself, that you don't actually have to do it. When we talk about cars, one of the things we have is automatic transmission as opposed to manual transmission. So with a manual transmission car, like a stick shift, you have to change the gears. So you have to move the gear stick, and in addition, you have to press down on the clutch and change from first to second to third to fourth to fifth. With an automatic transmission, you don't have to do anything. The car does it by itself. It's self-operating. It is controlled without you having to do anything. Okay, so our next word here is burden, and burden is a noun. At first, the lie he had told didn't bother the boy, but after a few days, it became a great burden to him. He wished he could go back in time and undo what he'd done. Although others think raising a special needs child must be a burden, my neighbor says she has found joy, not hardship, in caring for her son. So what burden means is a heavy load. But we don't really, a burden doesn't necessarily have to be heavy in the sense of something that you have to carry, so physically heavy, meaning it weighs a lot of pounds. But heavy, it can mean heavy in the sense of difficult or great responsibility. Um, so in the first one, right, this is a little bit of a tricky example, but it's saying that, when you tell a lie about something, sometimes we say that it gives you a weight on your shoulder. So if we say it was a burden, we're saying that it's like it's like pressing down on you, like it's causing you difficulty. So a burden is anything that you have to endure, right? We talked about the word before. It's something that you have to cope with. Um, a burden, a burden can be something that you choose, but most of the time, it's something that you dislike. To call something a burden is to say that it's a negative thing. It's something difficult that you have to do. That you don't like doing, that you prefer not to do, and you wish that you didn't have to. So to say, like to say that your children are a burden would sort of mean that you don't like your children, that you wish that you didn't have to take care of them. They are a heavy responsibility and they do require a lot of work, but hopefully you don't feel like that they're a burden, meaning that it's work that you don't want to do. Okay, you may feel that the amount of work I make you do in this class is a burden, which is understandable. But if you say that, it means you feel like you don't want to do that, and you wish you didn't have to do it, and you're kind of upset by the fact that you have to do so much, which you may feel. So moving on to our next one is economical, and this one is actually an adjective as well. It's usually more economical to buy food and soap in large packages. Smaller packages cost more per ounce. To decide which car is most economical, compare prices, gas mileage, and repair costs. So economical means money saving. Now we had the word before practical, and practical in some senses can be related to economical. Practical means like it's sensible, that it's smart. And in general, we find that saving money, right, is a practical thing, meaning that it's a sensible or smart thing to do. But the difference is that economical is specifically has to do with money. So we can think of it as giving good value or service in relation to the amount of money that you have to spend. Something is economical when what you're paying for it is worth what you're paying for it. So economical doesn't mean that it has to be cheap. It doesn't mean that it has to be cheap. It just means that for the money that you're paying, you're getting a good result out of it, meaning that you're not wasting money paying for that thing. So something can still be like a car is not cheap. So it can cost a lot of money, but to be economical means that you're getting good value out of your money. So our next one here is extravagant. Extravagant is also an adjective. I think it's extravagant to buy a prom dress that will be worn only once, so I'm borrowing one from a friend. Rhoda's budget is so tight that she feels it would be extravagant to buy herself a $10 pair of earrings. So extravagant means spending too much. So this is sort of the opposite of economical, right? Economical means that you're getting value for your money. Extravagant, to describe something as extravagant means that you're spending more money than you should on something. Extravagant is normally an insult, right? It means that someone lacks restraint, meaning that they're not controlling their spending, that they're just spending their money, we would say, sort of recklessly, or they're spending their resources recklessly without thought. So in the first example, it's spending all this money on a dress that you're only going to wear once. You may feel that that's extravagant. It's sort of a waste of money. In the second example, the person has so little money, or has to control their money so much, that even $10 extra is considered a wasteful use of money. So our next word here is fulfill, and this one is, pardon me, this one is a verb. One day, Chen hopes to fulfill his dream of visiting China again and renewing his ties with his family there. Jill doesn't like her job, but she promised to stay with it at least 1 year, and she plans to fulfill that promise. So fulfill means to carry out. What it means is also it means to carry out a task or a duty or a role as required or pledged or expected. So what this means is that you have said something, you've promised something, or you're expected to do something. And if you fulfill it, it means that you do it until it's complete. So in the first one, he wants to fulfill his dream. So he's always said that he wants to go back to China and connect with his family there. So to fulfill that means to actually do that and complete that. In the second one, right, she fulfilled her promise to stay at least 1 year. What she said is, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay for 1 year. And to fulfill it means that she actually, you actually do that thing all the way through till the end. Okay. So moving on to our next one is influence. Influence in this case is a verb. It also has a noun meaning, but in the meaning we're focusing on is the verb meaning. So my father thinks my friends influence me too much. He says they are the reason I study so little and waste so much time. Do advertisements influence what you buy, or do you ignore them and make your own decisions or your own choices? Influence means to affect. So influence means to have an effect on the character development or behavior of someone or something. So in the first example, what we're talking about is my friends influence me too much. It means that my friends have an effect on my behavior, on the way that I behave. So to influence means to affect how someone behaves. So in the second example, it's saying, do advertisements influence what you buy? Meaning that the ads that you see on TV or you read in magazines or the newspaper, does that change your behavior? Are you more likely to buy one thing over another thing because of what you see on TV? So influence means to affect someone's behavior, to do something. All right, our next one here is security, and this one is a noun. For nighttime security, the owner of the jewelry shop puts on a burglar alarm. People with homes near the river like having the security of flood insurance. And what security means is safety. We can say it's the state of being free from danger or threat. So if we're talking about security in general, right, security means you feel, if you have security, it means you feel safe. You don't feel like you're going to be hurt or threatened. You don't feel that you're going to be in danger. But we can also talk about security, meaning the people or the things that protect you, the people or the things that make you feel safe. So in the picture, you have a security guard. This is a person who protects you and keeps you from danger. In the first sentence, we have a burglar alarm, which is the security, right? Is the thing that protects the store and makes the owner feel safe. Okay. So moving on to the next word, which is sympathize, and sympathize is a verb. And the IZE, a lot of these IZE ending words are verbs. The whole town sympathized with the family whose house burned down. To show he sympathized with Miss Jackson, when her husband dies, Scott sent her flowers and a card. So sympathize means to feel sorry for. It means to feel or express sympathy. So what this means is to sympathize means means that something bad has happened to someone else, and that you feel bad for that person, that uh, that you're upset for them, for what happened with them. And normally when we say sympathize with, what we're talking about is actually doing some action to show that you feel sorry for that person. So, for example, when there was the flooding in Haiti a few years ago, a lot of people sympathized with the people there, and the way that they showed this was by sending money to the to the Red Cross. Okay. In the second example, when someone dies, the way that you sympathize is by sending, you can send a card or flowers or something like that, or you can go up to them and say, I'm sorry for your loss. One of the things to keep in mind with this one is that sympathized is often followed by with, right? To sympathize with. So that's a clue for taking the quiz. And then here's our last word, transfer, and transfer is also a verb. Before I can paint the bookcase, I have to transfer all the books into boxes. In April, the Army will transfer Jamal from a base in South Carolina to one in Virginia. And transfer means to move. It really means to move from one place to another. So it doesn't just mean, we wouldn't say, I transfer when I'm dancing, right? I transfer when I'm running. That's just talking about the movement. But transfer means really the movement from one place to another place, from one position to another position. So in the first example, you transfer all the books from the bookshelf into the box, from one place to another place. In the second example, we have transferring from South Carolina to Virginia, mean moving from one place to another place. Now, transfer is something that you do to something else. Okay, so in the first example, we're saying I transfer the books, meaning that I'm moving the books from here to there. I'm controlling it. In the second one, it's the Army that is transferring Jamal, meaning that the Army is moving Jamal from one place to another place. He's not moving himself. Someone else is moving him. This transfer is a word that's often used with work, or in this case with the military. You may be transferred from one department to another department, or from one city to another city. If you work in a big company that has lots of offices around the country, the company may transfer you. We'll say, now you're working in DC, but we're going to move you to Chicago. So it's talking about moving, but it means that someone is controlling the move. The other time we see this a lot is with people who work for the Foreign Service. So they will work 2 years, say in India, and then the government will move them to another country like Malaysia or whatever. But transfer has this meaning of moving something else from one place to another. Okay, so that's it. So go ahead and do the online activities and the questions, and then bring any additional questions you have to class. See you then. Bye.